I've just had another look at the C8 Corvette reveal. It was every bit as good as I thought it would be, but the C8 Vet itself was even better than I hoped for. It did look exactly the same as the renderings, but so much better in real life. The car looks great. All the new features are amazing and the performance is incredible. But behind all the colour and glamour of the reveal, GM had to get through a very important underlying message. Stay tuned and I'll tell you what that message was, and we'll look at how well GM delivered it. G'day, I'm Mark, and as well as being a former engineering program manager and in the GM system for about 15 years, I'm also a Corvette fanatic. I love all the old cars, and I have a few, but I'm also a huge fan of the newer cars, and I love the idea of a mid-engine Corvette. But there's a lot of traditionalists out there who don't want Corvette to change from being a front-engine car. Some still lament the passing of pop-up headlamps and round tail lamps. The opposition to mid-engine goes something like this. Number one, why build a mid-engine Corvette anyway? The front-engine Corvette was quicker than most of the supercars already. Rear-engine cars have their own problems with so much weight on the rear. Then number two, the car won't look like a Corvette. A Corvette's supposed to have a long nose with the driver sitting back near the rear wheels, slingshot style. This new car is going to look identical to a Ferrari or a McLaren, only with Corvette badges. Then number three, there will be no luggage space. GM is sacrificing the usability of the car for the sake of outright performance. It won't be usable like a C7 is. And finally, number four, a mid-engine car is going to be too expensive. It'll probably cost up to $150,000. GM's forgotten its long-term loyal customers. So, with the reveal of the new mid-engine C8 Corvette, GM had firstly to present a great-looking car, both inside and out, with all the new features and technologies. But there was a second and perhaps more important message GM had to deliver. GM needed to get it out there right from the get-go that mid-engine is great for C8. And all the aforementioned fears can now be put behind you. GM's message revolves around Zora Arkus-Dunthoff's long-term push for mid-engine, then GM's many prototype mid-engine cars, and that the C7 was the ultimate front-engine car. So the only way to continue with the improvements that come with every new generation of Corvette was to go mid-engine. The presenters then follow up by saying that C8 achieved everything that was planned. So that's a nice logical message. GM obviously spent plenty of time carefully scripting it. You'll see that message reinforced over and over again as I take you through the relevant parts of the reveal. But don't think I have a problem with this. It's exactly what they had to do. The mid-engine concept was vetoed for many years by GM top brass because they didn't want to risk it. There's no need to fix what ain't broken. I applaud the current GM heads for finally giving it the go-ahead. And didn't the mid-engine case get off to a great start when those stunning-looking cars first appeared on stage? And they looked every bit a Corvette. There's no Ferraris here. These are unmistakably Corvettes. That's one issue off the list right there. Okay, I'm going to play that reveal one more time. I don't think I'll ever tire of it. Like Zora said, let's go.
Let's go. welcome the president of General Motors, Mark Royce.
Finally, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think?
I just loved the dramatic entrance the C8 mid-engine Corvette made. GM President Mark Royce placed the car beautifully on the turntable, and the look on his face when he exited the car said it all. Mark was the head of GM Holden in Australia during part of my time there, and he was a real car guy. When he said how proud he was to be presenting the new mid-engine Corvette, I knew he meant every word. Royce quickly picked up the case to justify a mid-engine Corvette, as you will now hear.
With every succeeding generation since 1953, Chevrolet has worked hard to make Corvette better and better. We've never stopped improving, never stopped innovating, and never stopped making the car faster, better handling, more comfortable, more everything. You can make the case that once we got to C7, we had pushed the limits of what we could do in that configuration. It was as close to perfection as front-engine, rear-drive Corvette was going to get. To take performance and driving dynamics to the next level for our customers, we had to move to mid-engine. And that's what Zora had always wanted, of course.
We just heard Royce give the overview of the justification for the mid-engine. He started with the requirement to make Corvette better with each generation, then explained how C7 was as close to perfection as a front-engine Corvette could get. So the next step had to be mid-engine, and that was what Zora had always wanted. I think it's great that Zora is being so openly honoured. Zora didn't fit into the standard mould at GM and was a little controversial amongst his peers. But he was a brilliant engineer, and without his input, Corvette would have died during the first generation. Mark Royce shows the three serve cars, all part of justifying the move to mid-engine. Let's listen to him progress the case for mid-engine.
Mid-engine has always been a part of Corvette's destiny, and it's something we've been looking at for a very, very long time. All along, it has been absolutely paramount that we keep Corvette true to its roots of attainable performance. Mid-engine has historically posed a challenge to this mission. Not so anymore. The time has come today, and we feel that both Corvette traditionalists and potential new customers will embrace the change in layout.
We then heard from Phil Zach, Executive Design Director, Global Chevrolet. Zach went through the C8 design requirements. To me, the essence of his presentation was that the car had to be unmistakably Corvette. As I've said, very important for C8 credibility.
As you would have expected, we've maintained some of the essential Corvette design cues that are timeless and transitioned well into this new mid-engine configuration. Now, the design challenges for this mid-engine Corvette were unique in that everything had to be changed. But at the same time, our mission was to make the finished product not just unmistakably Corvette, but an exotic supercar version of a Corvette.
He also added more positives for mid-engine.
Mid-engine configuration not only enables a stunning exterior, but also improves interior accommodations. With the engine behind the driver, the cowl and the instrument panel are lower. The entire occupant package is moved forward 16.5 inches, improving visibility. The driver compartment is also larger than the previous generation, offering more space and an inch more seat travel.
The improved driver space was a very positive announcement. Typically, a mid-engine car has less space for the occupants. The improved visibility available to the driver was also one of Zora's biggest reasons to push for mid-engine. Phil Zach goes on to discuss the features and innovations of the interior design. I won't go into detail here because you can see as well as I can how good that interior is. GM is taking the Corvette's interior more upmarket with a lot more soft finishes. Gone are the hard plastic trims, which now have leather or suede covering, plus alloy and carbon fibre components. But as an engineer, I'm of course waiting to hear from Taj Yukta, Corvette Executive Chief Engineer. Did you catch that little joke first time through about the wipers? It seems Mark Royce inadvertently turned on the wipers during the reveal, and Taj wasn't going to let that go
What a
unnoticed.
venue, fantastic venue. It's so large it was actually raining up here. You guys didn't feel it out there. Mark turned the wipers on, but it stopped raining, so we're putting those away.
Taj continues to push the justification by explaining it's the right time to go mid-engine. He explains how the Corvette had to retain all the qualities available in the front-engine car when it went mid-engine.
As Mark said, this is the right time to move to mid-engine. We've actually known for quite a while we were reaching the limits of performance in a front-engine configuration. Our mission was to develop a new sports car that combines all of the things we do really well today with the performance and driving experience of mid-engine supercars, all while meeting requirements from all around the globe, including right-hand drive markets. That was news right there.
Note that sustained applause. There must be quite a few right-hand drive people in the audience. Taj has made the big announcement that affects us here in Australia. My prediction for right-hand drive C8 has now been confirmed. We'll be buying our C8 Corvettes direct from the dealer. No more expensive right-hand drive conversions or lack of service, spares and warranty. The world has changed for Corvette buyers in Australia. Taj now continues the justification for the rear engine
Let me
configuration.
explain some of the physics behind why putting the engine behind the driver enables us to make a quantum leap forward in driving dynamics. A mid-engine architecture allows for a very short, straight, stiff steering system. It's 50% stiffer than today's car, and that makes the driver's input to the chassis nearly instantaneous. The new seating position places the occupant's center of gravity right on top of the vehicle's center of gravity, so the car literally rotates around you in a turn. It completely changes the perception of vehicle handling and responsiveness. It also allows us to engineer higher performance chassis calibrations while simultaneously improving ride quality. Historically, cars with rear weight bias struggle to get to neutral and progressive vehicle handling. We were determined to get all the benefits of that weight distribution without any of the drawbacks. We did that by putting untold hours into the design of suspension geometry, bushing compliances, tire construction, and the front-to-rear stagger of the wheel sizes. There's actually a lot more than that to it, but I can tell you the final result is magic. The driving dynamics of this vehicle are better than we thought they would be. Today's Corvette gets excellent marks for ride and handling balance, but the Stingray is a whole new deal. No Corvette has ever felt so comfortable, nimble, and so completely stable.
As promised, my next video will go into a little more depth than Taj does here regarding the performance advantages of a mid-engine car. I'll be talking about the improved traction, braking, and acceleration out of turns, plus the improved ability of the car to change direction. Watch out for that video soon. Taj then went on to talk about the new frame, in particular its stiffness. Years ago, cars had a flexible frame and stiff suspension, but it's long been realised a stiff frame allows the suspension to work much better,
making this the stiffest Corvette in history, which in turn contributes to great driving dynamics.
A stiff frame also makes for less rattles. The unsprung mass, which is the wheel, brake and upright, bounces on the tyre and can get the body vibrating in resonance, unless the natural frequency of the body structure or frame has a frequency well above this. If that all sounded a little technical, what it means is that a stiff structure equates to less vibrations and rattles. For those of you who have owned a C4 Corvette, you'll be well aware of how great that suspension works. The handling and grip are outstanding, but on a rough road the vibration and ensuing rattles are almost unbearable, especially with a convertible. It's due to a lack of frame stiffness. This was addressed in the design of the C5. The C5 and later cars have outstandingly stiff structures, and this is so obvious in driving the cars. Personally, I couldn't believe the difference when upgrading from my C4 to my new C6. And Taj is saying the C8 is even better.
We felt it was hugely important to maintain our class-leading utility. Combined, these two compartments provide unprecedented luggage volume. The trunk easily accommodates the standard removable roof panel, which has been a hallmark in Corvette since 1984, or 2 golf bags. In fact, even the 5-piece luggage set that we custom designed to completely fill the back of the current car fits perfectly in this new car.
That was a big issue, luggage space. Remember the claim, mid-engine cars have no luggage space? That one was blown away with the revelation of how much storage space is available in the C8. I was always sure GM had that one covered. Since C5, GM has made usable luggage space one of its biggest Corvette design criteria.
Protecting that rear trunk, we have the automotive world's first curved, pultruded, carbon fiber bumper beam. This is the lightest and strongest possible structure for this very important part of the car.
Taj has shown us the car's carbon fibre rear bumper beam. One reason this has been made ultralight is to limit the weight at the rear of the car. There's already enough weight at the rear because of the new mid-engine configuration. Again, I won't go through the new electrical architecture or the driver modes. They're well explained by Taj, and I don't have much more to add apart from saying I'm very impressed. What an innovation that over-the-air reflash capability is. And how good is that front lift system? All Corvette owners know the frustration of going over a speed hump or driveway. You can either stop and maybe approach sideways, or just let it scrape. And to memorise the locations where it needs to operate? Great thinking, GM. Alright, we all wanted to know the horsepower of the entry-level engine. Let's listen to Taj.
Okay, you've probably been waiting to hear about the driveline, some performance stuff. I'll talk about the beating heart of the Corvette, the engine. With the performance exhaust, it was recently SAE certified at 495 horsepower and 470 foot-pounds of torque, making this the most powerful Corvette Stingray ever. For the first time, the Stingray comes with a standard, integrated, engine-mounted, dry sump lube system. The low-profile oil pan reduces mass and lets us mount the whole engine lower in the chassis than we've ever done before. The oil cooler has even more capacity. The bottom line is this: the new lube system has been absolutely bulletproof during our testing at tracks like VIR, the Nürburgring, and our own Milford Road course.
I must say I was talking to someone a couple of weeks before the reveal, wondering whether GM would fit a dry sump as standard. To make the most of the new handling capability, the engine needs to be as low as possible, lowering the centre of gravity, and the limiting factor is the oil pan. Plus there's the other added benefits.
That engine is paired to our first 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, or DCT. This features a very innovative electronic transmission range selector, a masterpiece of engineering art and design that will become a benchmark for the industry. The DCT provides lightning-fast shifts and excellent power transfer. Simply put, the DCT shifts gears faster and better than any human can. It offers the spirited and connected feel of a manual and the premium driving comfort in an automatic. It truly feels like you're getting the best of both
The
worlds.
DCT has also been somewhat controversial, with no manual transmission expected. Personally, I can't see why you'd want a normal manual transmission when you can shift when you want with the paddles, but some still complain.
The LT2 engine and the DCT, in combination with this new architecture, make the new Stingray a very quick car. We are seeing 0 to 60 times under 3 seconds. You heard that right. Z51 Stingray under 3 seconds. That puts the Stingray in the company of some of the world's quickest cars, and in our own history, only beaten by our 755 horsepower ZR1.
That 0 to 60 time was totally unexpected from the entry-level car. That's better than the C7 Z06 acceleration times. It's got so much to do with the rear weight bias, and certainly the fast shifting DCT transmission. So just what will the upgraded engine models do when they're finally released? In concluding his presentation, Taj very nicely summed up the essence of the new Corvette C8. I think he explained it very well, quite poetic in fact.
Now, I've talked about a lot of changes, but the truth is we have not changed the essence of Corvette. Corvette is all about freedom and the call of the open road. It is a designed in America, built in America, road-going private jet with first-class seating for two that will take you places you never thought you would go. In short, the Corvette is an attainable dream car. That has been true for 66 years, and the 2020 Stingray makes that truer than ever.
All that remained now was for Mark Royce to come back and tell us the big one, the price of the entry-level new mid-engine Corvette C8.
I know many of you are wondering where the new Corvette will be priced. Yes. While we're not ready to announce all the pricing details, hang on. What I can share with you tonight is this. When the 2020 Corvette Stingray goes on sale in the U.S., it will start at less than $60,000. So that's pretty great. Thank you. Yeah.
That entry-level price was also totally unexpected. Early estimates had put the price at some $150,000 US. Then after some thoughts from Bob Lutz on pricing, it was thought the car may be as low as $65,000, but probably more like $70,000 to $75,000. No one had suggested the price would be under $60,000. This price signified game over. GM's case for switching to a mid-engine Corvette was won. The argument was sealed and delivered. Congratulations, GM. You certainly smashed that one out of the ballpark.
You are one of those who like and enjoy driving. You owe it to yourself to try this car.
So how do you think GM did in delivering the message, the mid-engine Corvette is the right car at the right time? I think they smashed it. The car looked great and every bit a Corvette. Luggage space is as good as a C7 and the price is right, far better than expected. We're told the mid-engine design works. It certainly helps in delivering outstanding 0 to 60 acceleration times. And if GM is to be believed, it handles great as well. But we'll have confirmation of that when the journalists get hold of the cars. GM ended up delivering the message logically, confidently, and I think successfully. There appears to be little, if any, negative feedback in regard to what was presented. In fact, the car is being internationally lauded as a major milestone in automotive history. What do you think? Did GM convince you the mid-engine was the right decision? I'd love you to give me your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, and as always, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can easily find my videos. And after that, you can hit the bell as well. That way you'll get notifications when a new video is put up. But for now, happy vetting, and I hope to see you again real soon.